At 11:47 on a Thursday night, I made the decision that would eventually ruin my ability to drink convenience store coffee without smiling. I was driving home after helping my younger sister move into her new apartment when I noticed a black sedan sitting on the shoulder near a 24-hour gas station. The hood was up. A woman stood beside it with her phone pressed to her ear. I drove past. Then I looked in the rearview mirror. She was alone. Damn it. I took the next turn, circled back, and pulled in behind her. The woman immediately turned when I got out. She was probably around 30. Dark hair pulled back loosely. Black coat. Heels that definitely hadn't been designed for standing beside a broken car at midnight. She watched me approach without smiling. Roadside assistance? I asked. 58 minutes. That specific? I asked twice. I glanced at the open hood. What happened? The car stopped cooperating. That usually narrows it down. Her eyes narrowed. If you're about to tell me you know exactly what's wrong just by looking at it, I'm going to assume you're trying to scam me. I stopped. Then I laughed. She looked mildly offended by that. Good news, I said. I was actually going to tell you I have no idea until you let me look. She studied me for another few seconds. You know cars? A little. How little? My uncle owned a repair shop. I worked there through college. That sounds more useful than a little. It mostly means I know enough to recognize when something is about to become expensive. That finally got something out of her. Not quite a smile. Close. She stepped aside. Go ahead. I leaned over the engine. Try starting it. She got behind the wheel. The engine complained. I checked a few things, asked her to try again, then found a loose battery connection that looked like part of the problem. After tightening it, I stepped back. Again. The engine started. The woman looked through the windshield at me. Then she got out. You fixed it, temporarily. Her satisfaction disappeared. That's a terrible word. It's an honest one. I explained that the connection was bad and the battery didn't sound healthy. She could probably move the car, but I wouldn't recommend driving all the way home before having it checked. So I'm still waiting for the tow truck. Probably. She crossed her arms. You're very disappointing. I get that a lot. That time she actually smiled. It changed her whole face. Until then, she'd looked like someone accustomed to people being nervous around her. When she smiled, she looked almost mischievous. I closed the hood. Well, you're not stuck in the middle of the road anymore. She looked at my car. You can go. I know. You don't need to wait. I know. Then why are you still here? I nodded toward the gas station. Because you're alone. It's midnight, and your tow truck is 50-something minutes away. 46 now. See, we're making progress. Her eyes stayed on me. You always spend your nights rescuing strangers? Only the ones who insult me before introducing themselves. There was a pause. Then she held out her hand. Claire. I shook it. Ethan. Last name, Cole. Her eyebrow lifted. You give your full name to strange women at gas stations? You asked. Fair point. What about you? Claire. I waited. She didn't continue. No last name. You didn't ask. I literally just did. No. You said. What about you? Very vague question. I stared at her. She looked completely serious. Then the corner of her mouth moved. Oh, you're difficult. So I've been told. We ended up inside the convenience store because the temperature had dropped and neither of us wanted to spend 40 minutes beside her car. I grabbed coffee. Claire looked at the machine suspiciously. You're actually drinking that? I'm tired. That isn't an answer. It's coffee. That's an accusation against coffee. Then don't have any. She grabbed a cup. I laughed. What? Nothing. She poured hers black. I added cream to mine. We sat at a small table by the window. Claire took one sip. Her face remained perfectly composed. But I saw it. You hate it. No, you absolutely hate it. It's fine. You look personally betrayed. She took another sip, apparently determined to win an argument with a beverage. I slid the container of cream toward her. She looked at it, then at me. Say one word. I haven't said anything. You're thinking loudly. She poured in some cream, then more. I smiled. Not a word. Ethan. Your secret is safe with me. Her expression changed slightly. That's a dangerous promise to make to a stranger. Something about the way she said it made me wonder what kind of life she lived. I didn't ask. Instead, I said, so where were you going this late? Hotel. Business trip? Kind of. You're very mysterious. You ask surprisingly few questions for someone who stopped to help a stranger. I figured if you wanted me to know something, you'd tell me. That seemed to surprise her. She looked down at her coffee. I'm starting a new job tomorrow. Congratulations. Thank you. Nervous? No. That answer came instantly. I laughed. Not even a little. Claire leaned back. Then she took another sip and added, everyone else probably should be. You said here. She stared back. Then I laughed. Okay, what are you? Some terrifying middle school principal. Something like that. What about you? She asked. Product operations. Do you like it? Most days. That's diplomatic. I'm trying to get promoted. Ambitious. I'd call it wanting enough money to stop helping my sister move furniture because she refuses to hire movers. Claire laughed. A real laugh this time. It was surprisingly warm. We talked for nearly 40 minutes. Nothing important. Movies. Bad coffee. Why people bought cars they couldn't maintain. My sister. Claire's belief that pineapple on pizza was evidence society had become too permissive. She was funny in a dry, unexpected way, and I liked talking to her, probably more than I should have. The tow truck eventually arrived. We walked outside. The driver loaded Claire's car. She stood beside the passenger door of the truck and looked at me. "Thank you. No problem. For staying too. Still no problem." She hesitated. I could tell she was waiting for something. I wasn't sure what. Finally, she said, "That's it." "What?" Her eyes searched my face. Then she shook her head. "Nothing." I suddenly understood. Her number. For half a second, I considered asking. But she'd been stranded alone at midnight. I didn't want her going home wondering whether I'd only helped because I expected something from her. So I stepped back. "Good luck with the new job." Claire stared at me for another second. Then she climbed into the truck. Before closing the door, she leaned out. "Good night, Ethan Cole." "Good night, mysterious Claire." The door closed. I watched the truck disappear. Then I got into my car. I told myself I'd probably never see her again. The next morning, running on 3 hours of sleep, I walked into Whitmore Technologies with a coffee in my hand and found my coworker Mason waiting by my desk. "You look awful." "Thank you." Big morning to look like a corpse. I dropped into my chair. What did I miss? Mason stared at me. "You seriously forgot?" "Forgot what?" "The new CEO starts today." I groaned. Right. Claire had started a new job too. For some reason, I thought about her. Then Mason leaned closer. "Apparently she's terrifying." I took a drink. "What's her name?" "Claire Whitmore." I stopped swallowing. "What?" Before Mason could answer, someone announced that everyone needed to report to the main conference room. I stared at my coffee. Claire. No. There were millions of Claires. I stood, and for reasons I couldn't explain, my heart started beating faster. The conference room was packed. I stood near the back with Mason, still trying to convince myself that Claire Whitmore could not possibly be my Claire. Not my Claire. The stranger. That was already a bad sign. Mason leaned toward me. "Rumor says she fired 3 executives at her last company in 1 month. Rumors are usually exaggerated. She also made a vice president cry. Maybe he was emotional. Why are you defending someone you've never met?" "I'm not." The doors opened. Every conversation stopped. A woman walked in. My stomach dropped. Black suit, dark hair, controlled expression. "Claire." She walked to the front of the room without looking in my direction. I stared. There was no recognition on her face. No hint of convenience store coffee. No teasing. Nothing. She looked like an entirely different woman. "Good morning." Even her voice sounded colder. "My name is Claire Whitmore." Yeah, I knew. I won't waste your time with a long introduction. I was brought here because this company has talented people and inefficient habits. I intend to keep the first and remove the second. Mason whispered, "Jesus." Claire continued, "I don't expect perfection. I expect honesty, accountability, and people who are willing to tell me when I'm wrong." Someone near the front shifted uncomfortably. Claire noticed. "If that sounds intimidating, I suggest you get used to being uncomfortable." Mason nudged me. "Still think the rumors are exaggerated?" I barely heard him, because Claire's gaze had started moving through the room. Then it reached me. She stopped, only for a second. Her expression didn't change, but I saw it, a tiny flicker of amusement. Then her gaze moved on. I almost laughed. She knew exactly what she was doing. After the meeting, everyone started talking at once. Mason followed me into the hallway. "She's terrifying." "She's fine." He stopped walking. "Fine." "Yeah, she just threatened half the building." "She didn't threaten anyone." "You have a weirdly generous interpretation of language." Before I could answer, a woman approached us. I recognized her as Claire's executive assistant. "Mr. Cole." Every person close enough to hear immediately looked at me. "Yes, Ms. Whitmore would like to see you." Mason's face became sympathetic. "What did you do?" "Nothing. Nice knowing you." I ignored him and followed the assistant upstairs. Claire's office was large and annoyingly quiet. She was sitting behind her desk reading something when I entered. "Close the door." I did. She kept reading. 5 seconds. 10. I crossed my arms. "Are you going to pretend you don't know me?" Claire finally looked up. The Ice Queen vanished. A slow smile appeared. "Miss me already?" I stared at her. "You're the CEO." "Apparently. You're Claire Whitmore. Last time I checked, you said you were starting a new job." "I was." "You left out a fairly significant detail." Claire leaned back. "You never asked." "I asked your last name." "You did eventually, and you refused to answer." "I didn't refuse." "You absolutely refused." "I simply chose not to provide unnecessary information." I laughed despite myself. That's refusing with better vocabulary. She smiled. Then she studied me. You look tired. Some strange woman kept me awake until 1 in the morning. Sounds inconsiderate. She was pretty. I hesitated. Claire raised an eyebrow. Careful. Ethan. Dangerously pretty. For the first time that morning, she looked caught off guard. Only briefly. Then she recovered. I see. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have treated me differently? I opened my mouth, then closed it. Claire nodded. Exactly. You could have told me before you left. I could have. But she looked at me for a moment. I like being Claire. Something about the answer took the joke out of me. I leaned against the chair opposite her desk. You're still Claire. Not to most people in this building. I understood what she meant. Last night, she'd been a woman with a broken car. This morning, people were afraid to breathe incorrectly around her. I smiled. Well, if it helps, I still know you secretly need cream in your coffee. Claire's eyes narrowed. You swore. I said your secret was safe. You just used it against me. I haven't told anyone. You're walking a dangerous line. Mr. Cole, are you going to fire me? Not today. Comforting. Claire looked down at her phone, then back at me. There's something else. What? You didn't even ask for my number. I blinked. Of all the things I expected my new CEO to say, that wasn't one of them. Seriously? Very. You were stranded at midnight. Yes. I didn't want you thinking I helped because I was trying to get something from you. Claire went quiet. That was why. What did you think? I thought you weren't interested. I laughed. In you? Yes. You're kidding. I don't joke about serious matters. You called convenience store coffee a crime against humanity. That was also serious. I shook my head. Claire reached for her phone. She unlocked it, then held it toward me. Here. I looked at it. What? Fix your mistake. My mistake. Your number. Claire. Her eyebrow rose. Ms. Whitmore during working hours. Ms. Whitmore, are you seriously giving an employee your personal phone on your first morning as CEO? No. Good. I'm giving it to the man who bought me terrible coffee at midnight. I stared at her. She held the phone closer. Ethan, I took it. This is probably a terrible idea. Probably. I entered my number. Her phone buzzed in my hand. I had sent myself a message. I handed it back. Claire checked the screen. Good. What now? Now you go back to work. That's it. Her smile returned. You sound disappointed. I'm learning from you. I walked toward the door. Ethan, I turned. Claire's expression softened. Thank you again. For last night. I smiled. Anytime. Her eyes held mine. Be careful making promises like that. I left. Mason was waiting outside the elevator. Well, what? Are you fired? No. What did she want? My phone vibrated. I looked down. Unknown number. Claire. You still didn't ask. I smiled. Me. Ask what? The reply arrived immediately. Claire. For my number. I typed. Me. Seems like I have it now. 3 dots appeared. Claire, you're irritating. I put my phone away. Mason was staring at me. What? You just walked out of the Ice Queen's office smiling. Did I? Ethan, I headed toward my desk. Behind me, Mason called. What the hell happened in there? I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure myself. For the next 2 weeks, I tried to convince myself Claire and I were just friends. That lie became harder to maintain every day. It started with coffee. At 7:12 on Monday morning, my phone buzzed. Claire, the coffee on the executive floor is terrible. Me. Tragic. Claire, I thought you'd be more sympathetic. Me. You're the CEO. Buy better coffee. Claire, I'm considering firing whoever chose it. Me. There she is. The terrifying executive everyone warned me about. A pause. Then, Claire, bring me coffee. Me. Is that an executive order? Claire. Yes. I brought her black coffee. Claire took one sip and stared at me. Cream. I sat opposite her. I thought you were tough. Cream. Ethan. You drank it black the first night. I was trying to make an impression. On me. Her hand stopped halfway toward the cream. I grinned. Claire pointed toward the door. Leave. You called me here. I've changed my mind. I laughed. Her assistant, Natalie, walked in at exactly that moment. She froze. Claire was smiling. Natalie looked at me. Then Claire. Then me again. Am I interrupting? Yes. Claire said. No, I said simultaneously. Claire looked at me. I stood. Definitely interrupting. By the end of the second week, I'd noticed a pattern. Claire was cold to almost everyone. Not cruel. Not unfair. Just controlled. Then I'd enter the room, and something changed. Her shoulders relaxed. Her voice softened. Sometimes she'd smile before remembering other people were watching. It wasn't subtle anymore. At least not to me. One afternoon, she called me upstairs. Into the office. She pushed a paper bag across the desk. Eat. I looked inside. Turkey sandwich. Exactly the way I ordered it from the deli downstairs. You bought me lunch? You skipped lunch. How do you know? I saw you working. Were you monitoring me? I'm the CEO. I monitor everything. That's creepy. Eat. I took the sandwich. You know, when people call you the Ice Queen, they don't mention the aggressive sandwich distribution. Claire looked offended. People call me that? You didn't know? No, you're lying. Obviously, I laughed. A knock came. Daniel Reeves, one of the senior directors, walked in. He gave me a curious look. Claire, are we still on for dinner Thursday? Claire's face changed instantly. CEO mode. No. Daniel smiled. I'm at the client dinner. I know. His smile faded. Right. He left. I looked at Claire. That was brutal. He's annoying. I think he likes you. I know. You don't sound flattered. I'm not. She looked directly at me. Are you seeing anyone? I nearly dropped my sandwich. What? Simple question. Why does my CEO need to know? She doesn't. Claire folded her hands. Claire does. You sit here. She didn't look away. The atmosphere shifted. This wasn't teasing anymore. Why? Claire opened her mouth. The door opened again. Natalie stepped in with 2 folders. Claire immediately straightened. Put them there. Natalie did. Her eyes moved between us. I stood. I should get back downstairs. Claire nodded. I left. For the rest of the afternoon, I couldn't stop thinking about the question. At 9 that night, my phone buzzed. Claire, you never answered. I smiled. Me. Which question? Her reply came instantly. Claire, don't make me ask twice. I waited deliberately. 30 seconds, then a minute. My phone rang. Claire. I answered laughing. You called. You were taking too long. Maybe I was busy. At 9:13, you're proving my surveillance theory. Ethan. Oh. Silence. Then, what? I'm not seeing anyone. Another pause. Good. I leaned against my kitchen counter. Good. Yes. That's all. What else do you want? I don't know. An explanation? No. Claire. Good night. Ethan. She hung up. I stared at my phone. Then it buzzed. Claire. Sleep well. I typed. Me? You too. Ice Queen. 3 dots. Claire. Never call me that. Good night, Your Majesty. My phone rang again. I laughed so hard I almost dropped it. Claire started finding reasons to keep me around. At first they almost sounded legitimate. Sit in on this meeting. Why? I want your opinion. You have 6 directors. I don't want theirs. Then, come to the charity dinner Friday. Why? Operations representation. Claire, there are 4 people above me. None of them fixed my car. That isn't a professional qualification. It is now. So I went. Halfway through the event, Rachel Bennett spotted me. Rachel and I had known each other since college. She hugged me. Ethan, where have you been? Working. You always say that. Over Rachel's shoulder. I saw Claire. She was talking to someone, at least technically. Her eyes were on Rachel's arms around me. Oh no. Rachel left 10 minutes later. Claire appeared beside me. Who's Rachel? I took a sip of my drink. Friend. Close friend. Why? Making conversation. You interrogated the finance director less aggressively this morning. Claire's expression remained calm. I'm not interrogating you. You're jealous. No, you absolutely are. I'm not jealous. Claire. She looked at me. Fine. I almost laughed. Fine what? I didn't like her hugging you. The honesty caught me off guard. You barely know her. I know enough. What exactly do you know? She touched you too much. I laughed. Claire's eyes narrowed. You think this is funny? A little. Why? Because you're jealous. I already admitted that. You're the most straightforward, jealous person I've ever met. I don't see the point in lying. Then she stepped closer. Would you prefer I lie? No. Good. We stared at each other. The noise around us seemed to disappear. Claire's voice lowered. If I weren't your CEO, would you have asked for my number that night? I didn't answer immediately. Yes. Something softened in her face. And if I weren't your CEO now? Claire, that's not an answer. It is. Her smile disappeared. I hated that, but I had to be honest. You're my CEO. I know. People already notice you treat me differently. So my career matters to me. Claire went still. I continued. I like you. Her eyes snapped to mine. There. I'd finally said it. But I don't want people wondering whether I earned everything I worked for. Claire didn't argue. She just nodded. I understand. You do. Yes. The rest of the evening, she kept her distance. Too much distance. The next morning, I received an email from HR. My department's executive reporting structure had changed. Claire no longer directly oversaw it. I walked straight upstairs. Natalie barely looked surprised. She's expecting you. Of course she was. I entered Claire's office. What did you do? She closed her laptop. Good morning, Claire. Ms. Whitmore, you changed my reporting structure. Yes. Why? She stood and walked around the desk. Because you were right. That stopped me. Claire leaned against the desk. I don't want you wondering whether your career depends on how I feel about you. That's not what I said. It was part of what you said. She was close now. Too close. I also don't want you thinking you can't tell me no. My heartbeat changed. Claire. So I fixed it. You can't reorganize a department because you want to flirt with someone. I reorganized it because the structure was inefficient. You said here. She stared back. Then she smiled. And because I want to flirt with someone, I laughed despite myself. You're unbelievable. I've heard. So what happens now? Claire took one more step. Now. Yes. Her eyes dropped briefly to my mouth, then returned to mine. Now I've removed your excuse. Claire waited 3 days. Then she walked into my office at 5:20 on Thursday. Everyone else immediately found reasons to look busy. Ethan. I looked up. Ms. Whitmore. Dinner. Tomorrow. 7. Mason's keyboard stopped clicking. I stared at her. Was that an invitation or a board resolution? Claire didn't blink. Would you prefer flowers? I leaned back. Actually, yes. Fin. She walked away. Mason slowly turned toward me. What was that? I think I have dinner plans. With Claire Whitmore? No. I literally heard her. Then why are you asking? The next afternoon, a bouquet arrived at my desk. Not subtle flowers either. A ridiculous arrangement. Mason read the card before I could stop him. You asked? See. He stared at me. I took the card. Privacy? Absolutely not. Are you dating the CEO? Are you about to? I looked at the flowers. Maybe. Claire picked a small Italian restaurant for dinner. Not the expensive place I'd expected. I'd mentioned it once, weeks earlier. You remember? Claire looked confused. You told me. That was one sentence. I listen when you talk. That shut me up. Dinner lasted nearly 3 hours. For once, we didn't talk about work. I told her about growing up with my mother and sister after my father left. Claire told me her parents had treated achievement like affection. You got good grades. You got attention. She said, you won. They were proud. You failed. They became busy. That explains a lot. Careful. I meant the terrifying perfectionism. Better. She smiled, then grew quiet. People change when they know who I am. Most people. Almost everyone. And that's why you didn't tell me. Yes. She looked down at her glass. Do you know what I liked about that night? My incredible repair skills? No. Ouch. You didn't know who I was. Her voice softened. And you stayed anyway. I reached across the table. My fingers touched hers. Claire looked at our hands. She didn't pull away. You know what I like? What? You were funny. I am funny. You hide it. So do you. Maybe. After dinner, I walked her to her car. She turned toward me. Good night. Ethan. Good night. I took one step away. Seriously? I turned. What? Claire looked almost annoyed. You're doing it again. Doing what? Leaving without asking for what you want. I smiled. And what do I want? She walked toward me. I was hoping you'd finally figure that out. Then Claire Whitmore kissed me. There was nothing hesitant about it. One hand caught the front of my jacket. My hand went to her waist. When we separated, you said to her, this is probably a terrible idea. Probably. We work together. Barely. You're still CEO. I've checked. People will talk. They already do. Claire. She kissed me again. I forgot the rest of my argument. When she finally stepped back, she looked extremely pleased with herself. You fight unfair. I win. That attitude is why people are afraid of you. Are you afraid of me? I looked at her. No. Her expression softened. Good. She opened her car door. Text me when you get home. Bossy. Ethan. I'll text. I drove home smiling like an idiot. Before I'd even reached my apartment, my phone buzzed. Claire. Home? Me. You know I live 20 minutes away. Claire. Answer the question. Me. Almost. Claire. Drive. Stop texting me. Me. You texted first. Claire. Ethan. I laughed. 10 minutes later. Me. Home. Her reply. Claire. Good. Then another message. Claire. I like tonight. I stared at it longer than necessary. Me too. A pause. Then. Claire. Especially the part where you finally stopped talking. Me. Good night. Claire. Claire. Good night. Boyfriend. I froze. Then. Me. Boyfriend? No reply. I called. She declined. Then sent. Claire. Sleep well. I laughed. Apparently I'd been promoted. Dating Claire secretly was ridiculous. At work, she was Ms. Whitmore. At my apartment, she stole my fries. You ordered your own. Yours taste better. They're identical. Then stop complaining. She stole another. I slapped her hand away. Claire stared at me. Did you just hit the CEO? I defended my property. You're brave at home. You're less scary without the suit. She looked down at my oversized gray t-shirt she was wearing. You like this? Ido. Then stopped complaining. She stole another fry. Our relationship became comfortable faster than I expected. Claire started coming over 2 or 3 nights a week. Sometimes we ordered takeout. Sometimes we watched movies. Sometimes she brought her laptop, worked for 20 minutes, closed it, and leaned against me like she'd forgotten she was supposed to be intimidating. One Friday, she arrived with grocery bags. I looked inside. What's this? Dinner. You cook. Claire paused. I own pans. That wasn't the question. I've watched people cook. You mean restaurant staff? Does that count? No. We nearly burned chicken. Claire blamed my oven. I blamed Claire. She threatened to replace my oven. I told her rich people were exhausting. She kissed me to shut me up. It was probably the best terrible dinner I'd ever had. Then Rachel caused trouble without knowing it. She stopped by my office one afternoon because she was interviewing for a job nearby and wanted lunch. Claire happened to walk past as Rachel hugged me. Again, Claire kept walking. I knew immediately. That night, she was sitting on my couch with her arms crossed. You're jealous. No, Claire, no. You've said 12 words since you got here. Maybe I have nothing to say. You always have something to say. Silence. Is this about Rachel? No, definitely Rachel. Claire glared at the television. You dislike her. You barely know her. I've seen enough. I laughed. Stop laughing. I'm sorry. You aren't. No. Claire grabbed a cushion and threw it at me. I caught it. Very mature. Go date Rachel. There it was. I stopped smiling. Claire, what? Look at me. She didn't. I moved closer. Claire. Finally, she looked. There was real uncertainty behind the annoyance. That surprised me. Are you actually worried about her? Claire's voice became quieter. Yes. Why? She knows you better. She has known me longer. Exactly. That's not the same thing. Claire looked away. I touched her hand. Are you worried she's going to steal me? She didn't joke. Yes. That one word changed everything. I suddenly understood. The jealousy wasn't arrogance. It was fear. Claire could walk into a room full of executives without blinking, but she didn't know what to do when she cared about someone. I squeezed her hand. You don't have to compete with Rachel. Why? Because I'm already falling for you. Claire froze. Completely. I almost smiled. Did I finally make Claire Whitmore speechless? Shut up. You are. She moved suddenly, climbing closer and kissing me. When she pulled away, her eyes were brighter. Good. I laughed. That's all I get? What do you want? I just told you I'm falling for you. Claire put her arms around my neck. Good. Still not enough. She kissed my cheek. Better? No. My jaw. Better? Maybe. Then she rested her forehead against mine. Her voice changed. Softer. No one has ever made me feel this safe. That was enough. I stopped teasing. Claire looked into my eyes. You're getting me. Ethan. What? You asked what you get. Her fingers moved through my hair. You get me? I kissed her. Later that night, she fell asleep against my chest. My phone was on the table. Hers was beside it. For once, neither of us cared. I looked down at the woman everyone called the Ice Queen. She was wearing my t-shirt, one hand curled against my chest. I realized I wasn't falling anymore. I'd already fallen. The only problem was that by Monday morning, other people had started noticing too. Rumors move faster than facts. By Tuesday, people were whispering. By Wednesday, they were making jokes. By Thursday, I heard someone say, "Must be nice having the CEO like you." I ignored it. Then another voice said, "Cole's promotion will probably arrive before Christmas." I stopped walking. The promotion I'd been working toward had suddenly become poison. That evening, Claire noticed immediately. You're quiet. Long day. Lie. I looked at her. She was sitting across from me at my kitchen table. People know. Claire's expression didn't change. So, they think anything I get now comes from you. That's ridiculous. Is it? Yes. You're the CEO. And I'm sleeping with you. Claire's eyes hardened. Don't reduce us to that. I didn't mean it that way. Then don't say it that way. I rubbed my face. I'm frustrated. I can handle the rumors. No, Ethan. No, Claire. That's exactly what I don't want. She went still. If you step in and shut everyone down, they'll think they were right. So, I'm supposed to listen while people insult you. I'm asking you to trust me to handle my own career. I do trust you. Then let me. Claire stood. I hate this. I know. I can fix it. That's the problem. You can fix almost anything with one phone call. Her face changed. I immediately regretted the words. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. No. Say it. I stood too. Our lives are different. I know. You're Claire Whitmore. And you're Ethan Cole. You can walk away from this company tomorrow and never worry about money again. I'm aware. You can have anyone. Claire stared at me. Then she understood. Her voice went cold. This isn't about the rumors. I didn't answer. What are you actually afraid of? I hated the answer, but I said it. What happens when the novelty wears off? Claire looked like I'd slapped her. What? You met someone who didn't know who you were. Maybe that was exciting. You think you're a novelty to me? I don't know what I am. Claire's face became unreadable. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she picked up her coat. Claire, no, wait. You wanted to know what you are to me? Yes. She looked at me. Then maybe you should have trusted me enough not to ask like that. She left. The next day, Claire became my CEO. Only my CEO. No messages. No coffee. No smile when I entered a meeting. Nothing. By lunchtime, I hated it. By 5, I was miserable. At 6:30, I went upstairs. Her office was empty. Natalie looked at me. She's gone. Home. Natalie hesitated, then sighed. I shouldn't tell you. Natalie. She asked the driver to take her somewhere on Route 7. My brain clicked. The convenience store. 25 minutes later, I pulled into the same parking lot where I'd met Claire. Her car was parked outside. I went in. She was sitting at the same small table. 2 coffees. One in front of her, one across from her. I sat down. You expected me? No. Then why 2 coffees? Claire looked at the second cup. I was hoping. That nearly broke me. Claire. You wanted to know what you are to me. I was an idiot. Yes. Can I apologize first? No. I shut up. Claire looked at me. I remember everything about that night. Her voice was steady. You stopped when you didn't have to. I swallowed. You stayed when I told you to leave. She pushed the second coffee toward me. You didn't ask who I was. I didn't care. I know. And that's why I liked you. My chest tightened, but that's not why I love you. I stopped breathing. Claire continued. I love you because after you found out who I was, you still argued with me. You still made fun of my coffee. You still told me when I was wrong. Her eyes were shining now. You still looked at me like I was Claire. I reached across the table. She let me take her hand. I love you, Ethan. There it was. No hesitation. No games. I don't know how much clearer I can make this. I love you too. Claire blinked. I stood. She looked up. What are you doing? I walked around the table. Then I pulled her into my arms. She held me tightly. I'm sorry. I whispered. You should be. I was scared. I know. I don't want your money. I know. I don't want your position. I know. I just want you. Claire pulled back enough to look at me. Good. I laughed. There's that answer again. She kissed me. When we separated, I rested my forehead against hers. You know this coffee is still terrible. I know. You bought 2 anyway. I was emotional. That's going in the permanent record. Ethan. I smiled. There she was, my ice queen. Except she wasn't cold at all. Not with me. We stopped hiding after that. We didn't make some ridiculous announcement. Claire didn't call an all-hands meeting and introduce me as her boyfriend. She simply stopped pretending I didn't matter. Professionally, she kept her distance. Personally, she didn't care who knew. The first time she walked into the lobby after work and took my hand, Mason nearly walked into a wall. He stared, then pointed. I knew it. You knew nothing. I said, I knew everything. Claire looked at him. Mason immediately lowered his hand. Good evening, Ms. Whitmore. Good evening, Mason. We walked outside. I looked at her. You enjoy terrifying him. A little. Months passed. Our relationship somehow became even sweeter after the drama ended. Claire practically moved into my apartment before either of us admitted it. First it was a toothbrush, then clothes, then skincare products that cost more than my microwave, then one entire side of my closet. One Saturday morning I opened the bedroom door and found Claire wearing my oldest college sweatshirt. That's mine. She looked down. No, I've owned it for 8 years, and now I own it. You have 3 apartments. 2. That correction isn't helping. Claire walked past me. I followed. You also stole my blue hoodie. It was comfortable. And my gray shirt, also comfortable. And yesterday you complained that my clothes are cheap. They are. Give them back. No. I caught her around the waist. Claire laughed as I pulled her toward me. Thief. Careful. Or what? I'm your CEO. Not on Saturday. She kissed me. Still your girlfriend. Much scarier. She smiled against my mouth. The famous ice queen had also turned out to be unbelievably clingy. Not that she'd ever admit it. One night, I went downstairs to buy milk. When I came back, Claire was standing in my kitchen. Where did you go? Store. You disappeared. I was gone 10 minutes. You could have told me. You were on a call. You could have texted. I stared. Are you serious? Yes. I started laughing. Claire crossed her arms. What? You're clingy. I am not. You called me twice. You didn't answer. I was carrying milk. That's irrelevant. I put the milk down and pulled her toward me. You missed me. No. 10 minutes. No. You definitely missed me. Claire kissed me, then murmured, maybe. I smiled. Say it. No. Claire. Absolutely not. A few weeks later, something even more suspicious happened. Claire called me at 11:30. My car won't start. I sat up in bed. What? My car. Where are you? A pause. Route 7. I stared at the wall. No. What? Claire. Ethan. Are you at that convenience store? Silence. I started laughing. You're unbelievable. The battery died. Sure. It did. Stay there. 20 minutes later, I arrived. Her car was sitting almost exactly where it had been the first night. Claire stood beside it looking entirely too pleased with herself. I got out. You did this. Did what? Broke your car. That's a ridiculous accusation. You own 3 cars. 2. Again, not helping. I opened the hood. The battery terminal was loose. I looked at her. Claire looked innocent. You loosened this. I have no idea what that means. You watched me fix it last time. I don't remember. You remember everything. She smiled. Maybe. I tightened it. The car started immediately. There. Thank you. You're terrible. I know. We went inside. Same table. Same terrible coffee. Except this time. Claire immediately reached for the cream. I pointed. Oh, look at that. Don't. Claire Whitmore openly putting cream in convenience store coffee. Ethan. Personal growth. She kicked me under the table. I laughed. For a while, we just sat there. Then Claire looked at me. Do you regret stopping? I answered immediately. Yes. Her smile disappeared. I let the silence sit for 2 seconds. I should have asked for your number. Claire kicked me again. Ow. You deserved that. I thought you loved me. Unfortunately. I reached across the table. She took my hand. I don't regret it. I know. You sound confident. You drove 20 minutes at midnight because I called. You sabotaged your own car. Allegedly, I laughed. When we got home, I reached for my keys. Something unfamiliar was attached. A silver key. I held it up. What's this? Claire took off her coat. Key. Excellent observation. She ignored me. A key to what? Our place. I stopped. Our what? Claire suddenly became very interested in her purse. I stared at her. Claire. She looked up for the first time in months. She looked nervous. I bought the townhouse I showed you. The one near the park? Yes. You bought it? Yes. Why? She frowned. Because houses generally require purchasing. You know what I mean? Claire folded her arms. There are 2 offices. Okay. A garage. Okay. You liked the kitchen. I did. And it's 15 minutes from your sister. My heart started beating harder. Claire, what? Are you asking me to move in with you? She hesitated, then lifted her chin. I'm strongly suggesting it. I laughed. That sounds suspiciously like a CEO answer. Ethan, I walked toward her. She didn't move. You're nervous. No, you are. I can withdraw the offer. No, I caught her waist. Don't. Her hands settled against my chest. So what? Don't make me ask twice. I smiled. Yes. Her eyes changed instantly. Yes, I'll move in with you. Claire kissed me before I could say anything else. 3 weeks later, most of my things were in our townhouse. Claire claimed the larger closet. I claimed that wasn't fair. She ignored me. Life didn't become perfect. We argued about dishes. She worked too late. I forgot to replace things after using the last of them. Claire still tried to solve problems with money. I still told her that buying a new dishwasher because I loaded it wrong was insane. But every night, we came home to each other. One evening, I stayed late at work finishing a report. At 7:30, Claire appeared beside my desk holding my coat. We're leaving. I looked up. I have 20 minutes left. No, Claire. Ethan. You're abusing your authority. Definitely. I laughed. What if I refuse? She held out my coat. Then I'll wait. I looked around. The floor was almost empty. Then I looked at her. At the woman everyone still called the Ice Queen. The woman who could silence a boardroom with one look. The woman who stole my hoodies, hated black coffee, and once deliberately stranded herself because apparently asking me to revisit our first meeting would have been too normal. I stood. Claire held out her hand. I took it. We walked toward the elevator. Then I suddenly let go. Claire stopped. I kept walking. Ethan. I didn't turn. Ethan Cole. I walked another few steps. Where are you going? Finally, I turned around. Claire was standing there with her arms crossed. I smiled. Why? Her eyes narrowed. I couldn't resist. Miss me already? For half a second, she just stared at me. Then the Ice Queen smiled. Not the polite smile she gave clients. Not the controlled smile people occasionally saw in meetings. The real one. The same smile she'd given me over terrible coffee at midnight. She walked toward me. Always. I took her hand again. And this time, I didn't let go.